Hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me out on the bank. It's a Sunday morning and we're in search of carp on that most humble of baits, bread. We've already got a couple of fish up on the surface, hunting down those bits of crust. So I'm dying to make a start. You join me about 9 o'clock in the morning and it is the weekend before the rivers open. I really can't wait for Friday to get back out on those rivers, hunting those dace, those roach, those bream, and of course, Mr. Barbel. The plan today is just to go around a couple of club waters, looking for windows of opportunity like you can see behind me developing, and pick up a few bites. Get a bend in the rod, and that is what fishing is all about. Simple tactics and having fun. So the first venue you do join me on is Village Pool. Regulars to the channel will remember how many sessions Mr. Carp has ruined on here when we've been on the whip and the pole. So today is all about getting a bit of revenge on Mr. Carp on venue number 1. So on some of the venues that I fish, there is predominantly just carp in them when I do this tactic, but on here there's a very good head of quality silvers. So as you can see, they're all over the bread as well. What I've done is I've spread bread over a wide area. What that means is Mr. Carp likes to sneak around, doesn't he? So we can get a couple, trying to take a bit of bread over here, try and keep the roach a bit occupied here, and if Mr. Carp is anything like it, he'll be down here and around the edges just picking up the odd piece. There we go. Didn't think it'd take too long. It literally just lowered it into its mouth. And that's what I mean about just keeping the roach busy out there. Mr. Carp will always sneak around the edges. I'll have to slow him down a bit, but got plenty of snags down on margin. We've got to be on the ball. The most important thing about it is just to have fun. It's what it's all about, this type of fishing. You know, light tackle, bending the rod, and that excitement of seeing a carp suck down a piece of bread. Mr. Carp in the net. Most important thing now is to think about your next fish. No surprise it's gone really quiet out there. Let's just chuck a bit of bread back down there, and while we're sorting this carp out, you're already building for your next bite. But yeah, that's why I love this type of fishing. Super simple and exciting. One thing to note, a bit of the bread has drifted down this end down here. I'm just going to leave them on their own to pick up the odd piece, because every piece they pick up down there, they're building confidence. So we've got 3 areas where we can look for the bite now. We've got there, in front of us, and a little sneaky one down there. The only downside is the sunshine isn't on this peg, just to show off its colours. The venue is gin clear and a sand bottom, and what you get are these beautiful colours, almost purple in places around its head. But yeah, coming a foot from the bank, a lovely carp on the most simplest of tactics to start the day. Well, tactics wise, nice and simple. I've got my Corum opportunistic rod, and terminal tackle wise, it's really simple. Fits in your pocket, packet of hooks and a pair of scissors. Quick look at how I use the bread. You can see there I've got like all the middle piece, and I use that on the hook. I pull all the crusts off the outside and I rip them into pieces, and that is what I use to feed the carp, and I use that for the hook. Not a great fan of actually using either the crust at the end or the bits around the edges, so I literally do use that to feed the swim. I always use quite a large piece of crust, so what I do is I tear off quite a big chunk, and what I do then is I fold it over 2 or 3 times like that, so you get a nice solid piece of crust. What you end up with is that the hook completely in the bread, and there's only really that bit of the hook showing to the carp. There we go. There was about 4 or 5 of them. The carrot spooked off, which I imagine he sees quite a bit of bread, to be honest with you, looking bright orange in a clear pool. But yeah, that's the type of take that you want. Come up, take the whole piece of bread. You don't even have to strike almost, the line just comes tight. As you've seen on the channel, it's one of my favourite things to do. Just come out, a rod, a reel, a hook and a bit of bread, and you can have loads of fun. And it's just about repeating the process. One in the net. Let's think about carp number 3. Carp number 2, fiery common, and yeah, great fun. Wallop that piece of bread down and a good fight. Hopefully this is his time up. I knew it wouldn't take very long to get one of them. Been slurping bread down for, well, as long as it's taken to catch them other 2. And I knew straight away that's how you want to get them, really. So when they see a piece of bread, they're not thinking and they just eat it. So there we go, carp number 3. We won't bother holding him up. It's similar to the last 2, maybe a bit smaller, but he's definitely not the one that's been getting away with it. So 3 fish, and we've been fishing, what, probably half an hour max. And hopefully it just shows, you know, people new to fishing, you don't need a load of tackle. There's multitudes of tackle out there by companies. The simple tactics still work. You can catch fish and have a bit of fun. You've seen them coming from the left, hopefully, and that's what you want as well. You know, if you can get 2 come in at once, it's even better. And the good part about this part, it's shallow, so they bolt like mad, and you get like a big plume of mud come up. It's probably 20 minutes. Been trying to target those bigger fish, and no surprise they come down that margin to my right. And as you've seen there, hopefully on the GoPro, they're snooking at the side, 1 or 2 of them. They always hang round together, and we picked up one of the better fish. We could stay here and pick up a few more bites, I think, but let's get the gear together. Let's go and explore one of the other pools on the card. I had all the gear packed away, and as I was walking up the hill, I could just hear the slurping. I've missed a carp. Just had to have one more go. So I've unhooked him in the edge. You can see another one of those lovely dark golden purple commons. I'll get it straight back. And off he goes. As I always say about this place, it's a beautiful place to wet a line, but yeah, had to have one more cast. And I promise this is the last one. It's so hard to leave when they're having it. A lovely dark slate grey mirror carp to end this bit of the vlog on. Let's go and see if we can spot some other opportunities on another venue. So it's not very often I cover really serious points on the blog. We're back at the car, but I do need to emphasise, if you are going to do this, moving around multiple waters, different waters, looking for opportunities, have multiple nets. That's the net we've used this morning on that pool, and it'll go in the stink bag, and when I get home it'll be out in the sun until it's dried. But I've got about 4 or 5 different nets with me today. Each one of them I'll only use on one venue. It sounds like a bit of a pain, but you don't want to be spreading any disease that's in that water to other waters. There could be one carp in there that's got a problem that the other carp in the other venues haven't got any immunity to. So yeah, very important point, and always have it in mind. So the first venue I've come to is the Lake Lane Complex, and as you can see on screen now, I had a walk around the pools. Good to see plenty of fish on the top and some really nice carp, but ultimately in the heat just basking. I've come to one of the smaller pools on the Lake Lane Complex. One piece of bread, it slurped it straight down out there, and that's one of the things that, you know, I do say to people when they ask about this type of fishing. It's all about your gut instinct and assessing the situation. This morning we needed that bread to get that excitement going, but sometimes it just takes one piece. When them carp are naturally just sucking at the top, if you put a piece of bread in that area, 9 times out of 10, one piece of bread is enough. Change of venue, and what a lovely looking common carp that is. Hard fighting and well worth the effort in moving and finding new fish. We could have stayed on village, couldn't we, and caught them smaller carp, but it's great to go to another venue and pick up something a bit bigger. Again, the same tactics, simple bread tactics on the top picking up the fish. So venue number 3 and the last one of the day, you can see conditions are changing. We may well be caught short with a thunderstorm. We definitely had one last night, really bad. And this is a venue since I come a couple of weeks ago I've been coming back on, just on my own after work and not blogging. And you know, just having a bit of fishing on the floating crust. Put a few pieces of floating crust out there now, and there's 1 or 2 carp already coming up for them. So as you see on screen there, we had plenty of bites the other day. It's after work in the week. We've come through with Joshy. One of my friends has just released a child's book that he sent in the post for Joshy. And as you can see, he's really appreciative of it. He's just filling it in down there now. And Mr. Carp is eating a couple of pieces of bread. Up to the first one. And it feels like a decent one. So hopefully, it's going to go and help him out a little bit because it is a decent fish. Over the next few hours we continue to pick up a number of carp on the floating crust, as you can see on screen now. Joshua then spent time recording it in his new divey, which he really enjoyed doing, and I want to thank Mark for sending it out to him. There's a link in the description below if you're interested in picking up one yourself, and all that remains is for me and Joshua to wish us all tight lines in your own fishing, and we'll catch us all next week.